Welcome, everybody. Hey, before we do any intro, I know a lot of people are like, hey, man, seriously, are you guys ever going to do an intro song? Like, we never had an opening, right?
Well, we had one, and then we got cyber attacked for using it, so then we had to get rid of it.
Even though you had paid for the rights to the format of it, every week they would blast us, and you'd have to send in things. So, guess what, everybody? Guess what we did? We made an opening theme and an opening montage. Yeah.
All right. Are we ready?
So, let's do it. So from now on, this is our new opening for the show. We want to hear what everybody thinks, and listen. We're comics and actors and paranormal artists. We're not
investigators.
We're not investigators at all. But we're also not musicians, and yet we wrote a song and made it and made an opening. So. Without further ado, enjoy the opening of the Parents Lounge. We could have homes on separate coasts, go dive in Greece with squids. Could have been so bleeping rich, but instead we had kids. They won't smile for a photo, they won't eat the food we choose. That's why we're heading to the Parents Lounge to drown ourselves in booze. Every day we're more exhausted, we haven't slept in years. They hit me in the nuts so bad, my eyes filled up with tears. And yes, we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, but the truth is we are softies and we truly love our kids. So join us every Tuesday night to laugh at all our pain. Evening in the Parents Lounge is the cure to staying sane.
Yeah! Well done, sir.
I mean, it might be the greatest thing we've ever created.
It's pretty fantastic.
I had trouble finding words that rhymed with kids. So yeah, look, Sarah's gonna come in. Thank you, Sarah. Thank you. And even though it gets a little dark because we say we'd like to fake our death and go off of the grids, the truth is hey, Cisco, I love it. Thanks, buddy. He knows. He's seen me play a little guitar back in the day. Thanks, guys. Oh, that's awesome. I wrote a song and we recorded it and made it.
It's so catchy. If you had written that in 1984, you would have been on ABC every night. Yeah.
I don't even think I stole it from another song. Like I didn't even steal the chord progression. Like it was, it's E to B to A to C sharp minor. But it's do you hear me at the end too going up? No, I can't. I'm not a singer. But that's the beauty of it all. No, Michelle, priceless. I love that. Thank you guys so much. Hey, welcome to another edition of the Parents Lounge. I'm Jamie Kaler, of course, joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Jason Gowan. How was your week, my brother? Honestly, that's enough. I got it.
I'm here. That's all I can tell you. Go ahead.
Let me share this with them because I want to share this. This is my daughter from this week. And we'll use this as a launching point. We're going to start playing a little more videos because obviously we're crazy not to use video content. So my daughter, when your kids find one little thing that just makes them so happy, like you can buy them the toy and they play with the box for hours or something. My daughter discovered that she could do this in the pool, and she did it maybe 1,000 times before I finally was like, all right, I'll film it. And I don't think she knows the Willy Wonka movie, but this would be her audition tape to play Violet Beauregard, who turns into the blueberry. So enjoy Hannah being Violet Beauregard in our pool.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
Dude, she made me laugh. She kept doing it. She literally would not. When they keep doing it to a point where you're like, I got it. It was like a Tim Conway, School of Conway.
Yeah. Well, she's also, once they reboot The Nutty Professor with Eddie Murphy, she's a shoo-in.
Yeah. Oh, actually, yeah. And maybe in Shallow Hal, the remake, she could do. She might be able to do Shallow Hal. Although you can't make that anymore, right? That's fact.
No, that's on the can never be remade list.
Listen, I'm trying to teach my kids to be comfortable in the vehicle that God gave them, that they are created in. Like, this is your machine, take care of it and whatever. And I want you to be happy no matter what you look like, but be better. You know what I mean? Like, sometimes you're like, I would never fat shame somebody, but I would worry for somebody's health if my child was that big. So yeah, anyway, it's so funny because, that kind of took her mind off, because all that day, our neighbor has a cat. They just got a new cat. And that kind of took her mind off it, because all day, Daddy, can we get a cat? Daddy, can we get a cat? Daddy, can we? I was like, no. And I pulled out I'm allergic. We can't get cats. And I kind of am, but I'm allergic enough that we're not ever getting a cat. But yeah, so she wanted a cat, dude. What do you think about that?
All right. We're going to open up. We're going to open a cup of I'm going to give you a caution. What?
Do you have cats?
We do, but I wasn't happy about it. I have a thing. No, I have trauma. We're going to go to, I'm going to open this. No, because I'm not. Oh, I just have to tell you.
Yeah.
So this is a cautionary tale. There are people who can manage cats very easily, so I'm going to kick it Golden Girls style for a second. Picture it. The year is 2001. I am home for the summer from college. I'm working at a grocery store. They hired a bunch of college kids. And one of the kids or girls that was also home from college that they hired was Dalsum. She was girl next door, Betty from Riverdale. She hit all of the Jason Gowan buttons at the time.
Those are all of our buttons, man. We all have those buttons.
They put her in the deli. And as you look at me, I enjoy me a sandwich. I enjoy a panini, occasionally a whole rotisserie chicken. So I was in the deli a lot, and I built a rapport with this young woman, and we started hanging out. Things led to things. So as I said, she was home for the summer as well. She invited me to stay overnight at her house, which is also her parents' house. But she led with this. She's like, if you do, you're going to be a very lucky guy. And I'm like, yeah.
That's fun.
Right. So I'm a college guy. I'm looking for the summer fling. I went. I get there. The family appears to be the perfect 90s sitcom family. Her dad's watching Sports Center. Her mom's like making snacks. The only slightly unnerving thing is the little sister was laughing in the corner and whispering to her dolls, which should have said to me something was off.
Yes. Yeah.
We have an amazing night. And she says to me, hey, you're going to be sleeping in my bed with me tonight. And I'm like, what? This is your parents' house.
And first night there, you just met the parents that day.
Correct.
All right, something. First of all, the kid talking to the dolls, anybody who like talks to dolls and looks at you while they're talking to the doll, like it's a secret conversation, that creeps me out. That's a horror film waiting.
Well, hold on to your socks, my friend.
Okay.
So here we go. It gets to bedtime. Her parents have one rule, and this is important. The door must remain open. So I know that like any delusions of grandeur I had are now done. I'm in a PG to PG-13 level. Amazing night. I don't need to go into those details. But the one other important thing that you need to know is that her window did not have curtains on it. So we're doing the snuggle, and that we go to sleep. I wake up, the sun blasts me in the face in the morning. And then I hear her mother in the hallway talking to the cats. And they had a lot, like 9 cats. And they're not, Jamie, the conversation was not just here, baby, like cat things that you would say. They were full on like emotional confessions, like you'd tell a therapist. Dude,
9 cats that's an army. Like she's putting together a cat army for a purpose. Like she's taking over somewhere. That's terrifying.
Hold on. We're almost there. Oh, so I hear this and I think this is going on for a really long time. And I roll just enough so that I can see out the door. Because remember, as I said, door had to stay open. Her mother is in the hallway on all fours down with the cats. Now, some might say, hey, that's, it's not typical, but it happens. But Jamie, she was dressed as a cat.
Okay.
And not like a sexy dominatrixy Catwoman, like a full Broadway musical Rum Tum Tiger. And she's also drinking occasionally from the same milk saucer they are. And at that point, I'm now concerned she's also going to try to use a litter box. So I panic, and I did the only thing I thought I could do, and that I need the girl in the back so that she would wake up. And she jumped out of the bed and started screaming at her mother, whose only retort was, "Why can't you accept me for who I am?" At that point, I'm like, I have to get out of here. So I grabbed my clothes and my keys, and I climbed out her window. I left my shoes. My shoes were at the door. I left them and I drove away. So go down the cat wormhole, if you will, but no, just no. It can go wrong, horribly wrong.
You know, it's so crazy because every time you tell one of your stories, like I tell crazy, like I dated a girl who had dogs, and you know, there used to be this thing when we'd like hook up, the dogs would just stare at me. Like I was in, because here's the problem. She would throw them out of their bed before I came over. Like that was their bed before I even came into the picture. And all of a sudden they're like, "Why is this dude in our bed?" And they were looking at my feet. Like, it's just a quirky little funny story about stuff. Most of your stories actually are like the plot line for serious horror films. Like,
that's my life.
I mean, you with the divorced woman, and now you with, so did you ever see the girl again?
Oh yes, at work. But she never called me the rest of the weekend. And I feel like if you put your fling through that, there's an unspoken rule that you don't have to talk about it.
Why, if she knew the craziness in her house, why would she invite you over the very first night? And why wouldn't she say, "Listen, let's have him sleep on the couch"? Why would she have you sleep in the room when she knew she couldn't really hook up anyway?
Well, I don't know any of that. I mean, I'm not usually typically attracted to girls who are mentally stable. It's how I've been working this for years.
None of us are. I mean, they're few and far between, and I mean, they're unicorns in a way, in the same way that we are.
Or sometimes cats.
Yeah, or sometimes cats. They are cats. So the mother was a full-fledged furry. She was like leader of the cats.
Yeah, like if you had walked in there, you would have thought she was leaving for play practice.
I think there's also a law. You can't have 9 cats, dude.
Well, she did.
Every time I date a girl who had a cat, she wanted to get serious. So it was like, I am allergic to cats. Like I can't. I was like, I mean, if the girl if a girl was really hot, we could date for maybe a few months, but eventually the cat took over and I couldn't be part of it. But I don't.
That happened with my relationship there.
And any girl who has cats has immediately eliminated half of all men. Most men are like, we're not cat. Most guys are not cat guys. I mean, Rocco, who's our guest today, he loves cats.
Does he?
He's such a cat fan. But you don't have the scroll going. By the way, our guest, Mr. Vincent Rocco Vargas, is going to be in here in a couple minutes. Yeah, and we're going to talk about what he's doing. But that story, honestly, it was funny, but it also going to give me nightmares, man. That was a nightmare story. What happened with her? What happened in her life? What did she do?
I don't know what happened to her. I had heard other crazy things after me from other summer flings that also worked with us.
Well, what do you think is going to happen what was the father like if the mother acted like a cat all the time?
I mean, he seemed really normal. That's kind of the problem, is that like when I walked in there, if it wasn't for the sister whispering into the dolls, like I would have thought everything was fine.
He must have really liked cats. That dude. Well, like maybe he wanted to have, hook up with a cat his whole life. And then he meets this woman who like, "Hey, I like dressing like a cat." And then that dude goes like, "I like hooking up with cats." Maybe it was a match made in heaven. And yeah, they had damage.
It wasn't the first time it had happened though, because when she left the room, she said, "I thought you weren't going to do this anymore. You were supposed to be getting help."
Yeah. Always great when the child is trying to get the parent to be normal. That's a telltale sign of normalcy in the house.
And that's just a little peek into my romantic endeavors.
Dude, you need to write a book of like, some of these stories are absolutely like, I think I have crazy stories. I know Rocco has crazy stories, and he does. You have like stories that are like seriously deranged, man. You're like,
I think it's the water here.
Like they leave you in a room, like Eli Roth, who makes horror films, and he comes in and goes, "Hey, listen, man, we need something about cats. You got anything?" He goes, "Oh, dude, I dated this girl. Yeah, I got a story for you." And he's like, "Oh, that's perfect. That's the next Blumhouse picture of horror film." All right, hey, he's here. Let's bring him in. He's such a good cat. I've known this guy for years. We met at the GI Film Fest. He was there. He is an Army Ranger. He had served 3 combat tours. He got out of the military with a bunch of his buddies. They took over the internet, started Black Rifle Coffee. They made a little crazy film called Range 15 that went to the GI Film Fest. I went to the premiere, packed, sold out. I was like, who are these dudes? All of a sudden, they all take off. He heads for Hollywood. He's in season 3 as a series regular on the Mayans. Couldn't be prouder of him. Just an amazing guy who has accomplished so much. He also gives so much back to other veterans. We'll talk about that as well. And he is a great dad. He has 7, count them, 7.
How is he still walking?
7 children. Where's my photo of him? Did you add him? There he is. Hey, man, how are you?
What's up, dude?
I'm good. Did you hear Jason's insane cats? You don't have cats, do you? Do you guys have cats?
I'm not a cat guy. I heard you say I was a cat guy. I'm not a cat guy.
I know you're not. I knew you were like, I saw you bow your head. You're so insulted. Are you guys pets? Do you have dogs?
Yeah, we have dogs. We tend to have way more dogs than we should. We have 4 dogs and 7 kids. That's ridiculous.
That is ridiculous. So listen, here's what I love about you, man. This is going to be the crux of everything we talk about tonight, is how this guy became this guy. I love it so much. And that's before number 7. That's just with the 6, dude.
Well, you might not know, but we have 8 on the way. And that's
Wait, what?
Yeah, she's pregnant right now. Yeah.
So far, you win. By the way, I mean you lose, but you win in all of our guests. No one's even close.
You can't compete with me on anything. I got to go all in with everything.
Well, I know you. I mean, 3 combat tours. Let's talk about your veteran stuff for a bit. I mean, You're from San Fernando.
Yep.
You're badass. You joined the Rangers. You go over 3 times, Iraq and Afghanistan, right?
Yep.
Yeah. Talk about that. What drove you to go join the military?
I was playing college baseball, and the dream of becoming a professional baseball player got taken away from me because, academics, man, you got to go to class. Apparently, school's important. I
feel like a lot of baseball players that's not true for. You should have moved to the Dominican Republic and then come back.
Well, what happened was, I got in trouble a little bit in LA, and I had to kind of leave. So I left to play in Northern California, got an opportunity to get a full ride to Kentucky. And the only school that was taking me at the time was a Catholic school. So they have a lot of rules that I didn't do too well in, and obviously academically ineligible. And, at the same time, my daughter was born, my first child, who's now 18. And in a couple weeks, she's going to be headed to Ohio State University. What the fuck?
What just happened?
Yeah.
I mean, you must be so proud of her, because looking back, why did you just not study? You just didn't care? You were like, I don't care about that?
It's multiple things, very immature at the time. Drinking and partying was like, I was well known on the baseball field, well known off the field as a partier, right? It was just this thing. It was this ego that followed me around, and I kind of, wanted to maintain the story of this guy being this man, and just immaturity, dude. And, it was funny. I was watching the war on TV. I was working at Texas Roadhouse at night, and then I would go to, I'd go to the bar after, and me and my buddy were watching. We go to Buffalo Wild Wings, one of those places in Kentucky where you walk in and everyone goes, "Hey, same thing." I'm like, "Yeah. Give me the normal order." They all knew my name. They knew the same drink. At the time, I drank Killian's, which, dude, I don't even know what I was thinking at the time. That's how weird I was. Watched the war on TV, and I became academically ineligible and really not sure what was next. But I know I have a daughter who's, man, I think 5 months at the time, and I barely seen her because she's in LA. And it was kind of that choice it was that dad choice, right? I was raised by a father and a mother, 4 kids, and I knew my whole life I was going to be the same. I wanted this family unit. I wanted to raise kids. And so as much as the timing was probably not conducive to what I really wanted, it was the situation I had dealt, man. And so I decided to go to the recruiter, ask him, what's the toughest job you have? And he said, Army Ranger or Special Forces. And I didn't score high enough for Special Forces, so Army Ranger it was. And, it was that choice you make for your kids. And to be honest, man, I was ready to die in war. I was like, baseball's done. I'm not good at anything else besides that and drinking. And so let's go to war. Let's give my daughter an opportunity that I don't have. And so,
well, I was a veteran and I was ready to live. I never once was like, oh yeah, no, I was like ready to party up. Honestly, I never partied that hard until I got in the Navy. So,
yeah. Well, the thing is, I did it all in college. Yeah. Like I showed up to the military, like, that's how you guys party? Let me show you how to party. You know what I mean? Like I showed up knowing like, man, I'm 23 years old. I have a daughter. Most of these kids are 17, 18. They've never had a drink in their life. They first turned 21. I'm like, dude, I've done this. Let's go. So my mindset was different. I was a little bit more mature than some of the young dudes. And, we just got to the military, and it wasn't long after being in, I realized like I could be good at anything. Like I should have applied. I didn't need to join. I could have applied myself, but in all honesty, I wasn't mature enough to learn that on my own. I needed the military to teach me that.
Well, here's the thing too we talk about our kids, Jason and I were talking about our little kids and the future that they're going to hold and stuff. And I wonder that too. It's like it took me a long time to grow up too, dude. I didn't really find my vocation until I was like 30.
I'm still working on it.
Yeah, exactly. Dude, he really is. But I think, cause I know you, super smart. We've written together. I've seen your writing. You're very, very eloquent. You're very well spoken. You would never think looking back that you weren't, but the problem was you were so gifted as an athlete, and that happens too much. And people are rewarded in that vein, and they go, well, I don't really have to do anything else because this is where I'm going. And so it is a weird beast when you're like my kids today, they were like, oh, we're trying to get them to do stuff in the summertime. Are you dealing with that?
Yeah.
It's like, but then I'm exhausted. I'm like, fine, just watch TV. Fine, play Hatchimal game on your iPad. And I only have 2. I mean, how do you keep them on track on a daily basis? Dude, that's crazy.
I'm going to tell you this, man. I like when they're in school because it's a lot cheaper. When it's the summertime, we tend to eat so much more.
Yes.
I'm like, what is
yes.
But here's the funny thing. It's only me, my wife, and the baby. So we kind of found the perfect scenario, and maybe not for everyone, but when you're blended in the summer, they're gone and it's just us. And so we kind of have this system where every summer they go to their other parent, and then we have our 30 days or whatever of break, but now we have a little one, but it's kind of our vacation. We're like, man, this kind of worked out. And then we had a kid and kind of screwed that up for ourselves. But, I
never thought about that, dude, but that's true. It's like 2 of the greatest words you'll ever hear are joint custody. It's like at first you go, oh, I'm getting divorced. This is a terrible thing. But then somebody goes, hey, by the way, joint custody. And you go, oh yeah, I have a week off.
You now have a summer alone. It was like 4 years in a row. We're going to cigar conventions in Vegas. I'm like, this worked out.
Yeah. I know, but you need, because you should tell everyone how you're blended. Like you were the Brady Bunch.
Yeah,
plus 2.
Yeah, so I had 4 in my first marriage, and she has 2, and we blended, but we became 3 boys, 3 girls. Now we have 1 together, and he's a boy, and we have a girl coming. So we're gonna be 4 boys, 4 girls, like insane. Like, what are the odds? I'm actually blessed because that young daughter that's not even born yet is probably gonna be the one taking care of me when I'm really old. So
I have a question.
yeah.
Why do you like pain and hurting so much?
You know,
Like who hurt you?
you know what it is, man.
No, man, what is it, man?
You know what it is.
Try to justify this insanity.
I'm going to justify it for the few of us that understand the blended lifestyle. Is that our son Riker, who's the 1.5-year-old baby, was kind of the person to bring all the families together forever. Mom and dad are gone. He would be that one that they all eventually have to visit because related by blood now. And so it was kind of this thing. And, you know, we wanted to experience the child together. You know, we were more mature. We're in a better place financially. We could manage it. You know, I mean, I don't think you ever could manage it, but we are going to manage it. You know what I mean?
You're also in a place where, like, yeah, I mean, you got married young. It was probably like constantly fighting and trying. And all of a sudden you meet someone, you're like, oh my gosh, this is it. Why couldn't I have started the family with here? And so you do it, even though you're pushing 8, dude. I mean, you went from a baseball team, and I know you love baseball. Is that part of it?
I love baseball. We just need, you know, now we need a pitcher, so we'll figure that one out. Maybe we'll.
Your daughter's like a state wrestling champ or something or other.
Yeah, both daughters, my 8-year-old and 6-year-old, they both had state titles here in Utah. So yeah,
That's awesome.
Dude, yeah, this has to be real. How are you not like either a sitcom or a reality? It's got to be coming, right?
I honestly don't even want it. You know, I think some of that stuff is reality TV these days is not very reality, right? It's so BS. But
you do a sitcom where you recast the kids.
That'd be great. I would love that. So I've actually started to kind of write that concept of the blended my story, you know, in a loose way. I really am telling my story.
See it? It's funny, right? All right, Michael. We won't tell it. We won't tell it.
But yeah, man. So you know, the military, and then so on and so forth. Like, you know, it's funny. I'll back up a little bit. In junior college, because I had such a struggle getting good grades, my coach told me to try theater classes that are easy. That's actually where I started my acting, you know, path. I just wasn't, you know, baseball was more interesting to me because it was the dream since I was 4 years old. And then it's funny how later on, fast forward after military, while I'm in the Border Patrol, I started doing videos with my friends. You said we started Black Rifle. They started Black Rifle. We were in Article 15 Clothing, was a t-shirt company. And then, you know, after we produced the film, they went off and did their thing. I went off and did my thing. I was really dedicated to trying to figure out Hollywood. It was actually after I met you is when we started talking and you started mentoring me on kind of what to do next, you know?
Guys, I knew you guys were just buddies, and you kind of had some interests overlapping, but then you guys split because you wanted to be a legit actor. And those guys were kind of off doing their own entrepreneurial stuff and their online stuff. But you were like, hey, I want to be a legit actor. And dude, I mean, you did it. You're coming on season 3. You finished season 3, right? You're going to shoot season 4.
Yep.
You're a series regular on a effing television show, dude. I mean,
yeah, you know,
I feel like what I've watched my little boy grow up in a weird way.
No, I agree. You know, you know, I'll just to protect myself, I'm not a season regular yet, but you know, you know how that is, how it is.
Sure. Well, that's just a terminology, but you're in every episode, and you play a pretty big character who's growing in the show, and so you've been there since day one.
It's been.
I remember reading the lines with you when you went into audition, and I was reading it with you, going, "Dude, you're perfect for this." It was Wendy O'Brien, I think, right?
Yeah.
Read with her, and it was funny to see this big hulking monster like have these sensitive moments. And I was like, dude, as soon as you left to go do that, I was like, he's gonna book this thing. And sure enough, because when you walked in the room, you look perfect for the part too, you know?
Yeah, I actually wore you know, a low-cut shirt to show the neck tattoos. I shaved my head bald. I wanted to look intimidating as possible. I wanted to look as authentic as a motorcycle, you know, member would be. And you know, it was one of those things, dude. Right place, right time. You know, right preparation.
Yep.
Weird thing about Hollywood. I have friends who's been doing it for so much longer than me, and they're like, dude. And I'm like, you know, look, any other show probably never would have worked. You know what I mean? It just happened.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it is preparation. It's just the stars align a lot of times, and then, you know, a lot of times you shoot a pilot and that show doesn't go, and you're like, oh well, thanks for coming.
Times.
Yeah, you know, times, you know, I mean, things that I've gotten ready for and then just fell through. Like, it's crazy. I've been through so many meetings, so many calls, and nothing ever happens. And you're like, this is how it works.
But when you leave the room, you're like, booked it. Oh my God. I called my agent one time. They'll be calling you. But I had auditioned I tested for Todd Glass's Coma. It was a show. And I tested, blew the room apart. It was down to one other guy and I. That was it. We were in the waiting room. We'd already auditioned like 5 times. I go, I kill it. I walk out. I call my manager. I go, they're going to be calling you in about 5 minutes. And I know for a fact. And she goes, really? And I go, yeah, call me back in a few. And she called me back in like 20 minutes. She goes, you didn't get it. I go, what are you saying? I'm like flabbergasted. I'm blown away. I'm like, what the? But luckily, I didn't book it because they shot that pilot a week later. It did not get picked up at Comedy Central. 3 weeks later, I tested for My Boys, and then I got My Boys. So, you know,
that's where I
shut the door and somebody else opens a window, and you just never know. And it's, dude, you just can't. You just do the best you can, and that's all you can do, and you move on. And then it falls into place like the Mayans.
Yeah, you can't get emotionally invested in any of it. You're an actor. Like, it's like this. People are like, oh man, Mayans. I'm like, you know, Mayans is Mayans until Mayans isn't Mayans. You know what I mean?
It always ends, man. It always ends.
So I'm always prepared for do the best I can every moment they give me, and hoping there's going to be a producer one and be like, or a caster like, that guy. I'm going to remember.
I know.
And yeah, that's all you can do, man.
That's all you can do, dude. Listen, about that and stuff, you guys, it's a badass show, right? The whole show, the whole cast is a bunch of badasses, really.
Yeah, it's great.
Jason and I were talking about before you came on, because I also know you've always had a little thing with The Roc. I was going to find the picture with you with the fanny pack on. I didn't find it. You and The Roc.
Hard to find.
We might have to find that at some point. But we were talking about badass actors, fighters who act, and who's the greatest combination of both. Who is the best actor / fighter? Some are really good fighters, terrible actors. Some are really good actors, terrible fighters. Who's the best combination of an actor and a fighter combined in one worlds? Because honestly, I feel like you're moving in that direction. We're going to start moving you up the ladder.
You know, like if I can get into fighting shape, I've been wanting to find a fight movie, like fighting shape. Like that's my head is at right now. Like if I can get in fighting shape, I can show them because I can do jiu-jitsu at a high level, at a good level. I wouldn't say high. There's some guys out there like, hey, but good level. I can box very well. So I'm like, I can do it. So if there's
you can act. I think we were talking about Dave Bautista.
Yeah.
Legit fighter.
Bro,
he's a really good actor. I think he's a good actor.
I think he's great. I watched him and I'm pissed because I'm like, every role he gets would have been mine. It's like,
but you're coming up behind him.
He's retired. He's going to retire from Guardians of the Galaxy, the Marvel stuff, so you can scoop that up.
Well, it's the thing is like if I was in the right shape at the right time, it's the right place, right time thing, right? But I just know I'm not. I can keep up with him in acting. In my head, I can compete.
Absolutely.
I don't look like that monster though physically. So he beats me there.
Who are some of your other idols in the world of fighting and acting?
I think one of the iconic ones is Mickey Rooney. Rooney is
Mickey Rooney.
Yeah,
Mickey Rooney. You mean Mickey Rourke?
Rourke, excuse me.
I think I could fight Mickey Rooney and win.
You might be able to.
You mean Hardy? The Hardy series. What was his name? From 1942. Mickey Rooney. 5 foot. By the way, I have to find it. I interviewed Mickey Rooney before he passed.
No way. So
at the SAG Awards, and he is legitimately 5'1". And he, Dana Carvey used to do that crazy impression where he was like, boom, zoom to the moon, and Mickey Rooney. And I always laughed. And then I interviewed Mickey Rooney, and I was like, oh my God, it's so spot on because he goes like, I was on the set with Judy Garland. And I remember she had come up to me and we had dinner that night. And then Humphrey Bogart walked. And it was just this litany of, he just name dropped and was crazy stories that made no logical sense. And he was like, and then we went to the beach. And I remember I was doing a dance. And you're like, dude.
I think he might be my real father.
He honestly, He totally could be, Jason.
Yeah, Mickey Rourke. Rourke, that's what I meant. Excuse me.
Is he a legit fighter, though?
I think there's the little man. He's over there trying
Bring
to
him
get.
in.
But yeah, I think he was at one point, and recently he just paid for a weird fight and got really weird. But back in the day, he was more of a fighter. John Cena's fun to watch.
Can he fight? Can he fight?
I mean, I don't think Batista
can The Rock fight. And
Batista was an MMA fighter at one time.
No. He had like one fight, and it was rough. Bad. To watch. Yeah, it was rough. It was one of those fights. Yeah, it was rough. It was rough.
We had on a guest.
I'd go in a cage with them right now. Right now, I'd go in a cage with them.
We had Don the Dragon Wilson as one of our first guests on the show.
Nice.
Legit fighter, and like A-list actor on numerous films for many years. He was kind of one of those guys.
And he was eerily afraid of his wife.
Yeah, I know. His wife was the makeup artist on my show, My Boys and stuff, and she's the best. And it was funny because we were sitting there talking to like this tough ass guy, right? And then his wife came in the room. He was like, "Oh, hey, excuse me for a second." It was like talking like we all do. This is my favorite story of the whole week. This happened this week. Ashton Kutcher had a ticket to fly into space. Did you see it?
I did not see it.
So he had bought a ticket on, I think, Blue Origin or something to fly into space. And his wife, Mila Kunis, they have little kids, was like, "You're not going into space. You get rid of that ticket." And he sold the ticket back. He goes, "I can't. My wife won't let me go into space."
That's about right.
And every dad was like, "Yeah, of course, man. You have little kids. Yeah. My wife's letting me go bungee jumping or any crazy."
Yeah, why'd you buy that ticket? Yeah, that was weird.
He goes, "My wife made me give the ticket up to go into space. She wanted me to blow up because we have little kids."
Oh, bro. You know who's another fighter who's a pretty good actor? You know that FBI series was called it was on Netflix. Damn it. He is one of the actors on there. He was a legit fighter. Man, what's the damn show?
Mindhunters? Not Mindhunters.
Mindhunters. Who's the second dude on that? What's his name?
McEnany?
Yes.
He's from Fight Club. He's in Fight Club.
Yes, he is. That's a legit fighter.
Is he really? I had no idea that dude could fight.
Yes, he's a legit fighter, bro. That dude's a real deal. I was trying to help with a documentary on on boxing and CTE, and his interview was dope, bro. He said that he's going to the gym before he'd spar, and if he didn't have a mouthpiece, there was just a bucket of a bunch of different mouthpieces, and you just grab one, rinse it off, and throw it in your mouth and spar. I'm like, what? What? So that dude is a real savage, bro. A real savage.
I mean, if Mila Kunis told me not to go, I wouldn't.
Yeah.
I can't argue with that. I also would probably not.
I mean, if Mila Kunis says, but isn't it funny? Like, you can see the biggest, toughest dude, any neighborhood, and he'll be like, yeah, out in his front yard. And then his wife comes out and goes, "Get your ass in here." "Oh, I gotta go. I gotta go. I gotta take care of it." It's crazy. What's it like now with? I mean, you have a wife who's pregnant with a little boy and a ton of other children.
It's crazy.
Are you just doing exactly as you're told?
You know, you help out as much as possible, but I still got to do work. I still got to kind of do things, you know. I still got to do my part, but there's definitely a smart balance of it all, right? Like I think that's the young version of me would commit to work more often than family, and obviously, you know, that doesn't ever work out for the family or for the kids' sake, right?
Do you guys fight at all? I mean, I've met her. She's a sweetheart.
Man, there might be something dumb. And, you know, it's usually about my health and me not taking care of myself because she's the fear of me, you know, doing something that's going to hurt me for a long run. But
yeah, because you know what she doesn't need? She doesn't need to take care of you in a
right.
You know, in a wheelchair. She's got 8 kids. What are you doing?
Yeah. Newborn on the way. That's crazy.
We have crazy fights, though. Like the other night, we have this string of lights in the backyard that apparently decided to just go on. Like it's one of those that's on my phone, a Tomy something or other. And she's like, "Hey, the lights are on in the backyard." And I shut it off. And she goes, "They're not off." And I go, "I'm shutting it off, man. Won't go off. We have a huge fight because she goes, "Go out there." I go, I'm in bed. I'm like in my underwear, asleep in bed. I go, I'll take care of it tomorrow.
Light.
Huge fight about the fact that she wanted me to go outside. Oh, she also, the same night, she got a spray tan. And she goes, "Oh, I set the alarm for 1 so I can get up and take a shower and get my spray tan off." I go, "Are you I seriously, the alarm's going to go off in our bedroom at 1 a.m. so you can wash your spray tan off. And she's like, yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. And so we had a huge fight about the lights and spray tan. That was like out of control.
I think we've had a few here and there because a new baby, it's kind of parenting styles and techniques we're starting to learn about the young ones. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, hey, he fell, get up, he's good. She's like, oh my God, he just fell, and so trying to figure that out. But the other day she's like, can you watch the baby? And I was like, yeah, I got him. And we're at one of my birthday event, right? I did this charity event for veterans. And she's like, watch the baby real quick. I'm gonna go to the restroom. And as she's coming out of the room, she goes, where's the baby? I'm like, he just ran. I think he ran into the men's restroom. And I'm like, I'll be back. Bro, he comes walking to me with a cake, a urinal cake. And I was like, mother.
Oh, no.
Dude, it is.
Bro.
Was he chomping on it?
No, just holding it. And I was like, oh, my God, dude. And that's one of those ones where I got the look. And I was like.
She saw the urinal cake?
No, I said, you got to wash his hands better because he had a urinal cake. And she's just like.
Why would you rat yourself out? I would have never said that.
Dude, I had to.
No. I would go, let's wash his hands, but I would never. Are you insane? You sold yourself out for a urinal?
I had the urinal cake and I'm trying to wash it and wash my hands. I just like, you got it. My bad. I messed that one up. I owned it. I think that's the win that I get. I owned it.
I'm impressed because Jamie and I both would have lied about it.
No question. I would have totally lied about it. I would have never. No, I would have never. Actually, I did say stuff like that when they were super young because I was stupid. And now I've learned. I'll start to say something sometimes and I'll go like, oh, you don't need to know. It's all good.
It's no big deal.
That's a good one, dude. The urinal kick.
Man.
But he's not injured. Like, the worst is when he's injured on your watch.
Dude, so far, I got the good ones. He's little things. She's got the worst ones. So today I was like, oh, that was your fault.
We talk about it every week. It's what happens on your watch. If it's on your watch. What was the one that happened on her watch?
Oh, he was, how he's starting to try and step in little boxes, and there was a little shoe box but he stepped in it, lost his footing, and hits the back of his head a little bit, right? And she calls me and is like, you think I was like, no, he's fine, it wasn't, he was on the ground, nothing big. But and then one of those things, right? And today we're walking, she goes, I feel so bad. I keep checking his head. I'm like, yeah, well, it's your fault. And she goes, no, it's not my fault. I'm like,
dude, honestly, it's going to save you money. He won't be going to college. You don't have to worry about college. A couple more dents on the skull. He'll be fine. He'll end up working at Applebee's. He'll be great. He'll have a great life.
He'll be an actor.
Yeah, actually, there you go. He's all set up for acting. You just say these words you guys wrote. That seems easy. Yeah. Hey, talk about real quick. I know you're doing. I don't know all the details of it, but the veteran thing. Where dude. I love what you do, and all you guys who came out of that Rage 15. You guys do a lot, and you especially have set up these things where you're really helping veterans.
Trying. Yeah. I just felt like there was kind of a void in the community for some positive reinforcements for the veteran community, but also, there's too many organizations out there that focus on the 22, right? The negative aspects of veterans, the worst thing you can think of. And when you think of that and you start creating this, this false narrative, and it is a false narrative if you look up the research, you start to create this self-fulfilling prophecy. I think guys are getting out of the military and they don't have people to look up to, right? They don't have these positive stories. They don't have these like, who are the successful veterans I can follow? The narrative is, are you going to be a statistic, right? And so I've decided to, go against the grain on that and saying, yes, why do we need to focus on that? If we can focus more on people to aspire to be, telling beautiful stories of success, we'll give more veterans an opportunity to look up to others out there and hopefully strive to be better, and so the veteran name is really just a push for the better influence and the better conversation, pushing guys to just do more and be more. I think that's not pushed enough in our community, right? In our community currently right now, there's a lot of drinking and partying and veterans wear this. And it's like, no, we don't have the monopoly on suicide and we don't have the monopoly on trauma. You know what I mean? We're human, and when you start to carry this veteran label so far that it makes you struggle in society, of becoming a civilian counterpart. I mean, that's a bad mental, that's a bad mindset you're giving yourself. And so veteran is really just kind of a push in the better direction and trying to get guys to think more positive and highlight successful veterans out there. So for me, if this platform being an acting gives me a bigger voice for people to listen to, I'd rather push a positive narrative than a negative one. And so
that's awesome.
Veterans, where can they go? Is it veteran.com?
Yeah, you can go to veteran.com and check it out.
It's just veteran with a B, veteran.com.
Yeah, we're revamping a few things. We have a nonprofit underneath that what we're doing is trying to build veteran transition centers, a place that's not the VA and a place that's not revolved around drinking. A place that is genuinely a community center for veterans to get the resources they need, partnering up with other nonprofits that we believe in their mission and being able to give them resources. So kind of like this middle ground, this neutral territory of like answers. So that's what we're trying to create right now. It's a struggle. It's a hustle. Business goes up and down. And so, it's just one part. How you doing? It's just one part of what we're trying to do in with this social media that I have, right? I have this social media following and I'm trying to use it in a way to raise money and to give information.
That's
awesome. I love it too. It was one of the first things we talked about actually, because when I got out in like 92, there was nobody had moved to Hollywood. Actually, when I moved to Hollywood, people were like, do not tell anyone you're a veteran because they won't think you can act. And I was like, that's so crazy. But it was a hard transition because when you're in the military, everything is planned for you. You sleep here, you're told what to do. Be here at 7. We have a day planned. Then you're going to do this. You're going to do this. Your ship's going to sea. And then all of a sudden you get out in the real world and you have to self-motivate yourself for everything. And it's really hard because you're used to doing, he told me to do this and I killed it. I did such a good job. And now you have to tell yourself what to do. And it's super hard to do. And all the free time, was spent boozing. When we pull into port, we didn't go see, I didn't go see any palaces in Thailand. We drank our asses off at the FTN bar in Phuket and then just stumbled back to the ship every port. That's all we did.
That's the thing is, when you say that, what happens is, your identity is military. And then when you get out, you have no identity or you have to find that identity, right? And so in search of the identity, if alcohol is involved, well, it's going to take a lot longer to figure it out, And so, I think we haven't had very strong leaders. And at the same time, I think, we have the misconception that drinking is the answer part of the time because that's the culture that we've raised our brothers and sisters to be in, And so, I've been sober now for 2.5 years just because I'm going to be my own case study in this mission and trying to continue to find success. I'm a veteran myself. I've struggled with post-traumatic stress. I've struggled with, TBI and memory and all these little things that, they're consistently going to be a thing in my life. And we're working on it. But, hoping to be, a good advocate and a strong advocate for others is really the goal. And,
I didn't know that, dude. 2.5 years. Good for you. You must be lean and mean. Hey,
I supplemented it with sugar, so no.
To answer Benjamin's question, I was in combat systems. I was an officer. I was a lieutenant. I was a combat systems officer on a ship, on a destroyer, touring the Pacific. But what's funny is I ended up hanging with most of the enlisted guys because, and I used to joke about it. Some of the best leaders like my chief in my department. I go, dude, just whatever you need, you tell me, and I'll get it for you because he was the leader. I knew it immediately. He had 20 years of service. But because I had a degree from college, I was an officer, and I never loved that system either, man. It doesn't go on merits, the military. It goes on time in and how many stripes you have, whether you earn those stripes or not. And, guys stumble up and stuff, and you're like, this guy's telling me what to do. I don't know, this is crazy, but there's no other way to do it. But unfortunately, the system is flawed in that way.
Yeah, it is. That's kind of why I got out. You started seeing other people promote that. You're like, no.
I just didn't love the system. It drove me crazy, and the cleaning and it was just the meticulous, and I was like,
I never served. I got winded just reading the physical requirements. I got winded just reading them.
Did anyone in your family, Jason, ever? Did you come?
My grandfather on my mom's side was.
Nice. See, my father served, my brother served, and so I kind of followed in. Rocco, you didn't. Your dad did not serve, did he?
My dad was in the Marines. Yes, he was.
He was in the Marines, because then I know he was a fight trainer, actually, right? He's a boxer.
He was a very big cut man in boxing. Yeah,
that's right. Yeah, it's such a great story. So I think a lot of times I fell into it. I trust me. I wanted to go to UNH, get high, and play soccer. I didn't really want to go. But I was like, I got a ROTC scholarship. That's the only way I got through school because we didn't have the money. So
yeah, it was kind of for me. It was like I screwed up my scholarship, and it was always an option, and so I took the option.
I loved my time in. I mean, I met a lot of great guys, and I saw the world, and I really did get to. It got me out of New Hampshire, and I got to see. That's the other great thing about the military is, it's funny when I see people say that military guys have such a small point of view because we see the world. It's crazy. You saw people in Iraq and Afghanistan. You must have looked at them and gone, "Oh my God, people live like this." I saw people in other countries that I was like, "Oh my God, I'd never seen poverty like that," and it really opened my eyes to go how lucky we are.
Yeah, definitely humbling. I guess it's kind of what eyes are you looking at through. I've always had a lot of empathy for everyone over there, and the war that we fight, and just it's so the dichotomy of like wanting to be a warrior out there, then also seeing life and how it is out there is just crazy. And so, it's interesting. I think more now. I think about a lot of the stuff overseas and be like, man, crazy. I guess I'm in a better perspective even more now than I ever have been. And I think I'm even more empathetic to a lot of the veterans who come back from overseas and knowing what they've had to deal with. Because back in the day, I didn't have the time to think about it. I just went to war, came back, went to war, came back, went to war, came back, went to work. You know what I mean? It was just like, all right, I'll think about it now, and so
you kept going back for it was the trilogy. You were like, here's the sequel, and I gotta finish the 3-peat, brother.
Oh, and
let's talk about how that transfers to kids, because like my kids I'm trying not to make them spoiled, but they have no concept of how great their life is. I mean, Jason and I have talked about that a lot, about our kids are just so taken care of, and
they're super entitled, like across the board.
Well, it's funny. Yeah. I mean, look, my 18-year-old, she decided she wanted to move out and try her thing and being independent. And I was like, oh, okay, well, that's fine too. And I've been raising these very independent kids where like, make your own sandwiches, pour your own cereal, make your own mistakes. And all of a sudden now she's like, all right, I'm out of here, Dad. I'm moving out. I want to be independent. And I'm like, shit, I raised her to be independent. I forgot. You know what I mean? And that's one of my 7. And then I have, every kid is so different, and each kid I have to try and teach them their lesson of stop being spoiled. And it might come in different forms, right? Whether it's, not buying them the shoes they want or whatever, but it's hard, man, because I also want them to enjoy the life that I provide for them. I work hard to give them these things, and so, trying to find the balance and keeping them humble and appreciating or having gratitude towards what we provide is hard because they don't know it any other way, dude. You know what I mean? They don't know what a mayonnaise sandwich is. You know what I mean? Like, they didn't grow up poor.
Honestly, I don't know what mayonnaise sandwich is either, dude. I mean, come on. I grew up on Spam. Like I remember like peeling the can of Spam as a kid. And I never thought that was like, I grew up later and somebody was like, Spam's poor food. And I was like, really? That was pretty good. We used to fry it up with eggs on Sunday morning.
Bro, we had bean marathons, dude. Whatever beans you had on Monday, they were just different by Friday, whether it was refried beans and tostadas or burritos or tacos or nachos. It was different, but it was the same ingredients, just fried or cooked differently.
That's funny. Gaffigan is a huge run about he's at a Mexican restaurant. He goes, what are the quesadillas? And they go, it's cheese and they go, well, what's a taco? He goes, it's a tortilla, and cheese. They're all the same ingredient. They're all
the same. I realized that by Friday, like, we're just eating beans and tortillas in different formats. That's all it is.
Honestly, maybe that was the genius of the parents to go, look, we're giving them the same food. What if we give it a different name and we put it in a different shape? And they go, brilliant. And the kid's like, just eat it.
I didn't figure it out until I was 16.
That's so funny. They go, this feels like last night's meal. No, that was tacos. These are quesadillas. Oh, okay, my bad. That's my bad. That's funny, dude. What else was I gonna tell you? It's awesome what you do for all those guys, the veteran stuff. And it is weird, man, coming back. And it's funny. Would you want your kids to serve?
I would want them to choose better job than I did. I'd say that. I joined as an infantry dude. I'd rather my son join as intel and hopefully have a good career outside of the Army or military. There's so many cool jobs out there that I didn't even pay attention to. I just kind of said, let's go to war, Yes. So if my kid was going to join, I'd hope that they'd go to college first, get their ROTC, and then go as an officer for the pay, for the I think it's very prestigious to be an officer in the civilian world. It kind of translates better, and as well as in a good career field. And so I see nothing wrong with it. I actually think it's beautiful. It gives people opportunity. There's a lot of people out there. Like some guy was like, I have no opportunity. It's like, well, you have an opportunity to join the military. I mean, you can sacrifice a couple of years and get yourself education paid for, all these benefits. And you know what I mean? For me, like it's a good choice for some people, especially that don't have options. If they're healthy enough for it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
I've seen it turn a lot of people's lives around for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
I tell people that it's what you make of it, man. But I think that's what life is in general. Like I tell my daughters that all the time. She goes, oh, she went to art camp this week, right? So she had to do all these. They came up with like 10,000 different pieces of art, and one was like the worst sketch of an album. Like a couple were really nice, and I saved them in a couple photos. And I said, well, Kate, this one, she would hold this up, and she'd go, I worked so hard on this, and I was like, no, you didn't. No, that was like 30 seconds. It looks like. She goes, no, I worked really hard. I go, then you need to work better because that's awful. That's really terrible what you've done. I'm not the guy who's like, I'm always like supportive, but I'm like, I know she's lazy. She's like super. I go, did you read your book tonight? She goes, oh yeah. She's like, She goes, oh, I read 5 books, and then the third graders reading like baby books.
Yeah.
Like potty books. And I go, are you reading that? That's like a baby book. She goes, I read 5 books. And I was like, that's not how this works, man.
I know.
You get what you put into it.
She's towing the line.
She's towing the line.
Kids are smart.
Bare minimum.
Kids are geniuses. They know exactly what to get away with which parent. They know, they know they know where you've let them slide once and they'll slide again. They know they're the genius manipulators, and you have to put them in check or else they're going to do it their whole life, dude.
Well, let me ask you that. Speaking of genius, do you think your 18-year-old moved out because she's sick of being the babysitter? Wouldn't you be sick of being the oldest one of 8 to be like, oh my God, how much did you guys rely on her? Was she super helpful or was she kind of always off on her own?
It's kind of like, I think her 11th and 12th grade year, she had a lot more freedom because she could drive. Before then, yeah, I'd be like, hey, every Friday I'll pay you. Me and mom are going to go out, right? It's our, oh my goodness, baby boy. I'm going to show you. There he is. Crazy little guy.
You can't open doors yet?
No, he can't. No. Good. I got those those doorknobs that they can't figure out.
Oh yeah, we have them here too. We have to.
You have to, yeah. But my 18-year-old, I think she was babysitting for all, but like I always try and reward them for a payment, right? Like if you're gonna babysit, we're gonna pay you. You know what I mean? Yeah. But when she started driving, she started having a lot more freedom of playing sports and staying at school and doing all that. And so, but I think part of raising a big family, they all have to know that they're gonna sacrifice a little something, right? Like we're working together here. Imagine we have 4 kids of sport age kids. Sometimes one of them is going to get dropped off and I'm not going to get to watch that sport that day. My bad. You know what I mean? Yeah. But trying to balance that is super valuable and important. But
is there a competition between them to vie for your affection?
No, you know what I mean? I think they get a good amount from all of us. You know what I mean? I kind of play the tough, funny guy all day long. You know what I mean? Like, I love you, but I'm still going to talk shit and make fun of you for everything you do. You know?
I was with my kid at the dentist today. She wouldn't open her mouth.
Yeah.
And it wasn't even for the drill. And I'm like, she's not a baby. She's like going to 3rd grade. And she was that. Actually, watch this. This is the other one. She wouldn't open her mouth just so the woman could wipe fluoride on her teeth because she didn't like the flavor of the fluoride and would not do it for 5 minutes. And I go, Hannah, open your mouth. You're going to be punished beyond belief this is embarrassing. You're in 3rd grade. What are you doing? Open your mouth. She's like, finally I leaned on her and just ripped her mouth open. Dennis starts wiping her teeth.
He's like wrestling a crocodile. He's like pulling it over.
Getting drilled. Like she didn't like the flavor of the white she was putting on. Yeah, of the enamel that she was putting on.
Our 6-year-old. Yeah, our 6-year-old has anxiety of like talking to people. I think it's just their age of like communications through text all the time. So like we go to eat at a restaurant, I make her order her food, and she is like panicked. I'm like, you order, you don't eat. That's fine with me. And she's like, order or don't eat. And she's just like, can I get a steak, please? And I'm like, look at the eye. What's wrong with you? Like these kids, I mean, they don't know how to communicate. So it's like none. So I'm trying to force every single kid orders, but her, the 6-year-old, is just like, and I'm like, dude, man, like these kids are so different these days, man.
The kids who really develop their verbal skills are going to, I think, do really well.
I agree with that.
You can see politicians, even though a lot of politicians I don't like at all, and I think are total jackasses. You see them speak and you go, I get it. I know they're lying through their teeth. I know it's all BS and it's all for money, but they're good at it. They're really good. I get it. They can make people follow what they're saying. And it's a skill that is slowly being bred out, like handwriting. Like nobody handwrites anymore. Like I had to sign stuff the other day and I was like, my hand was cramping. And I was like, it was crazy. But I think verbal skills too. And so that's why with my kids, I'm making them read out loud a lot. And I engage them in conversations as much as I can so that I feel like they are becoming better speakers. No. That's funny, Stephen Baker. I make my kids order their food too. I never thought about that. That's really smart, guys. That's
all my little ones order it and say please and thank you every single time. But my 6-year-old has gone through a phase where I'm like, no, dude, you're gonna order. I even had her order pizza online before just to kind of learn. I'm like, it's not because I can't do it. I can do it in 2 seconds, but something valuable that you should learn that when you're going to be 18 years old, you're like, how the hell do you do it? Well, I can show you. It's easy. Go do it. Do it. Figure it out.
You know what? I know we never do. We order for our kids. I feel embarrassed now. I'm going to start doing that. I never did that. And I'm going to do that from now on and make them order. And we're having please and thank you problems.
Oh, we don't.
We don't hear either. And Jace does, because the twins can't talk yet, but Jace does order his own food at 5.
We have a yeah problem. I don't like my kids saying yeah. I make them say yes. Yes.
Interesting.
I feel like
it's in the little things that
I feel like it's so rude. I'm like, hey son, do you take out the trash? Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Thank you. Just say yes. It kills me when I hear yeah, because I feel like they're saying it like that. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, what, Dad?
Yeah.
What do you want?
Let's just say yes, please. Jeez almighty.
Actually, Michael's right. Remember with the phone numbers. That was my daughter's worst grade in kindergarten. She doesn't know any of our phone numbers.
My son
doesn't know how to tie her shoes either. But
my son who's 12 barely learned my first name, I think. Like there's things they never hear ever, and you're like,
no.
Yeah.
It's crazy, dude.
You know,
that's crazy.
There's these
I love the manners stuff though, dude. I think that comes from some military background too. And just I try to tell my kids all the time, I go, listen, yes, it's polite and it's nice to do, but it's a means to an end, because I'm trying to teach you how to get the most out of life, how to get people to do the things you want them to do is a real skill. Yeah. And part of that is being just a super nice, polite person to go, my God, thank you so much, to go out of your way and say, that was really kind of you. Thank you for doing that. I really we went to Krispy Kreme and they just give my kid a donut. And she goes, he keeps walking. I go, they just gave you a free fucking donut, dude. You might want to, I know it's their job, but you might want to say, my gosh, thank you. That's so kind of you for the donut, dude.
Yes,
what's wrong with you? They are just entitled. They're used to having people pick up after them. They don't do it. And I'm having a real problem trying to stop it.
Little things that society is slowly like going away from that causes like that's a struggle, right? Like manners is so simple to teach. And for some reason, like parenting is that's hard for people to tell just say, or how, excuse me. Try go to prison and don't say excuse me. You're gonna get fucking stabbed. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's the most polite place you'll ever go. I was a corrections officer for 2 years. These guys are murderers, and like, oh, excuse me, sir. I'm like, no, excuse me. No, excuse me. Please go. You know, and like, they're polite in there because there's repercussions. You'll get stabbed. You know, like, I think everyone should be raised thinking there's repercussions. The social media world, there is no repercussions. There's like, hey, you're an idiot, boom, and you know, nothing. Say that to my face, you're gonna get smacked, right? But these kids, they don't think about that no more, right?
Mike Tyson has that quote. He goes, I forget what it's. I don't want to wreck the quote. I'll have to find it, but he says something about like everyone has an opinion until they get punched in the face, and then he's like, yeah. People, there are no repercussions anymore, man. And we've reached a point where it's like, you know, I was gonna make a video about like I don't even know who it was, but somebody came out and said, you know, you guys said some really mean things about me online, and you're like, yeah, it's called the internet. Have you grow some skin? When I was a kid, people tortured us. The best way to get away from it is just to ignore somebody. But if you showed them that it mattered that somebody called you a ginger or whatever, howdy doody or scarecrow or whatever they called me back in the day, like if you were like, oh, that hurts, it was like fuel to the fire. They were like, just ignore people, dude. Hey, who gives a shit?
They called me torpedo once because my big chin. I was like, I have never heard that. I just walked away like, I don't want to hear that again. That was terrible.
When I was running one time, this group of kids and I was like probably 9th or 10th grade. I was running, and the kids pulled up beside me and yelled, "Look, they freed Willie."
Kids are so mean, dude.
It's so mean, dude.
Kids are so mean. But
do any of the siblings are there any fights at all between them? There must. I only have 2, and they fight all the time.
There's some yelling. There's some, you know, they're not playing with them ever again. Like, it's kind of like I'm taking
my sharing rooms. Do they share rooms? You don't have an 11-room house, I don't think, do you?
No, they all have their own room. Yeah, besides the babies. The babies will have a share room, but everyone else has their own room. We have a
Wow.
We live in Utah, bro.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah, everyone has a basement with 4 more rooms. You know what I mean?
True.
Yeah, no, the kids, the 2 older ones got into a fight once, and it was the saddest punches I've ever seen thrown. I made them get the gloves on and learn how to box. That's what I got mad. I was like, how are you being raised in my house and not know how to throw a punch? Like, I would have been mad if you hit him square in the face, but the fact that you threw a weird punch, I'm like, no, let's go. Took them to
jazzercise.
Yeah, I took them to the garage, and I made them hit mitts, and I made them hit the bag for like 3 days straight. Like, we're going to do it again tomorrow. We're going to do it again. And like, now you guys know how to throw a real punch. Don't ever hit each other. But at least if you get in a fight someday, you'll know how to protect yourself. Goodness.
Jason, are you a fighter at all?
No, I'm a roll into a ball and weep kind of person.
Trust me, I'm in the same boat. Have you ever been in a fight?
I had a guy in high school run straight at me once because I made some venomous comments about his girlfriend, and when he ran at me, I literally pulled a WWE move and I put my foot up, and he ran straight into the boot, and like I literally grabbed the kid around the waist and I just slammed him to the ground, and he didn't take it any farther.
Wow.
So you're a badass.
I was a farm kid. I grew up on a farm, so like I can take a beating pretty well. It's just a job hazard there.
Most of my friends have always told me, because I have in case you've noticed, I have a quick tongue. They would always say, I can't believe you haven't been punched in the face more often. I always laughed at that. I always kind of find a way to talk my way out of it in a way. And it's weird.
Have you ever been hit in the face?
Yeah. I've been, there's been a couple.
Besides Kate.
Oh, no, never. No, I'm totally joking. No.
I've had a few.
She would stab me to death in my sleep, but she would never just punch me.
Yeah.
There was a brawl here and there, a couple. I mean, high school.
Yeah.
Yeah. Actually, one guy hit me, and he broke his thumb.
How do he hit you?
He broke his thumb, and I do have a very hard skull.
Pulled the Three Stooges, did he?
I have a super hard skull, but I think he hit me like that or something. But he broke his thumb, and that was what else? Was there another fight? No, I guess that's it. I also, yeah, that's funny. I'm not a fighter at all.
I've been in a few fights.
What's the craziest fight? Oh, you actually, I think you told me about some crazy. All right, yeah, we did it on the podcast, I think, right? You did the knife fight or something. Were you in some crazy knife
You
fight?
were in a knife fight?
In a phone store or something insane?
In a what? In a what?
In a phone store with a knife fight, or was that?
No, that was well, that's kind of what got me in trouble the first college. I pulled a knife on a guy, but whatever. He was trying to pull me out of a car. It was a long story, but it was a better one. There's a better one. I graduated Ranger School, and I had nerve damage in my right shoulder, so the whole arm was dead. It was called a brachial plexus nerve damage. So the right arm was dead, and so I could only do this. And so I got, yeah, that's it. I was like moving. And so I went to the bar with my buddies who graduated, and we decided to party it out, and all the families were there. And these guys, like my buddy comes back from home. He's alone. He's not with his wife. And he's like, all mopey. I'm like, what happened? He goes, dude, we're getting a divorce. I'm like, what the hell? So I take him to the bathroom to try and talk, and people were going in and out of the bathroom. So I said, let's just go in the giant, freaking handicap stall. So we're in there talking. Another buddy knocks on the door. He joins us, and we're just kind of like, hey, dude, let's just go grab some beers. We'll figure it out later. And then while we're in there, 3 other dudes walk in, and they're drunk out of their minds, and they're talking mad smack. They're like, look at these dudes. What are they doing? Sucking each other off. And I was like, motherfucker, like we're having a serious moment in here, bro.
Honestly, though, to be fair, 3 dudes in a stall. It's either drugs or
yeah.
So any a storm alternative.
So we had no right to be upset either way. We open the door. We start talking back and forth. We were about to get into it in this small little bathroom. I said, look, let me just buy you guys some drinks and let's just go our separate ways. They're like, let's go. Boom. I bought them some drinks. And then my boy goes outside, and they follow him outside like they want to jump him. So then we end up getting to a brawl. But my buddy hits the first dude, boom. The other dude decided to just walk away, so he didn't want to fight. And then one of the other guys, a big old dude, ran towards me. As he ran towards me, I'm like, oh crap, I'm gonna have to punch this dude in the face. I'm left-handed. I threw a right-handed punch, and it didn't work, bro. So I went boom, and I was like, oh, yeah, bam! So he hits me. Luckily, I come right back at him, and I grab his shirt with the hand that could do this, right? I grab his shirt, and I start hitting this dude, and it was just a all-out just weird brawl. But all I could think about, like, I'm hitting this dude, I'm thinking like, wow, that was weird. My arm did not work, and I'm just hitting this dude like blah blah blah. Oh, it was just insane, man. And
that's funny.
We got in the car and we ran before the MPs showed up. So
somewhere that dude's telling the same story where he's like, I fought this guy. He was a lobster boy. He had lobster hands. And he swung. His arms were like noodles that just kind of swung weird. It was crazy.
Oh, it was bad.
Yeah. Hey, let's talk about tattoos for one brief instant, because you are fully tattooed. Jason, do you have any tattoos?
I do not.
I'm clean. Jimmy clean. I mean, I got a lot of freckles, but I've got no tats at all. You are pretty well, and your wife is covered as well.
Yeah. It's
you know what's funny? When I grew up, it wasn't that. It was like sailors and stuff had tattoos and stuff. Tattoos are everywhere now.
Yeah. Everywhere.
It used to be your calling card, but now they're like, you must go to auditions. And they go, dude, we got 1 million guys tatted up. Like everybody's tatted up.
Yeah.
Are your kids tatted yet at all?
My 18-year-old is. My 18-year-old has you. Yeah.
Does she have sleeves, or what does she do?
She has a half sleeve on this arm.
Nice.
At 18.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, at 18, there was nothing I could have done that I wanted, that I knew I would want for the rest of my life.
Well, it's funny. It's the culture of what we were raised, man. My kids have only seen tattoos their whole life.
Right.
And then same here. My dad's fully covered as well. And I mean, I'm 10 years old going to tattoo conventions with him. You know what I mean? It was a very common thing in our life. Like my dad was in the tattoo world, and so I don't know anything else other than when I was old enough to get a tattoo. I've been asking for one since I was 14. Yeah. And so, there's always going to be tattoos that you're like, but I think.
Do you have any rules for your kids? Is there a certain age?
No, I think 17, 18. My daughter's first tattoo, she was 17. It was a small little thing on her ankle. I'm like, whatever. You know what I mean? You can cover that with a sock, or you can whatever.
Sure.
But when she turned 18, she wanted that full sleeve. I just told her I didn't want her going below the elbow, and I don't want her, hands and neck. Those are the final. That's it, dude. That's
Although nowadays, I guess laser removal, people getting removed left and right. But she did a sleeve from the arm down on her hand.
No, she just did from it's called a half sleeve, so it's just the elbow up, and I didn't want her to go too low. What do you say?
we need to get inked up. So in my life, I have made a rule of kind of trying everything. I will, I think, get one at some point, whether it's my kid's name or my back or something or other. I don't really know.
I've thought about the boys and my kids' initials.
Yeah. When you get one, you'll want more.
That's the deal, I guess, right? It's an addiction.
I wouldn't even know it's addiction. You're gonna be like, and then you're gonna look at your skin and you're gonna be like, you know what, it would look good there. I look at my skin and I see spots that's not tattooed. Like I have a couple spots right here, and I hate them. I fucking hate them. They're gonna get filled. They got to get covered one day.
I mean, are you going to be, Guinness World Record tattoo guy, right? But you can't do any more on your face. Obviously, you wouldn't face tattoo it.
No, I won't.
You're an actor.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, already what I have now, I think slows me down a little bit.
The neck.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but the kid, Machine Gun Kelly played. He's an actor. He just sits in makeup and they cover him up. But he's slowly having them removed because he goes, I don't want to sit in makeup for 5 hours every day to get my tats covered.
Yeah, I mean,
as an actor, you think about like, this is my canvas. My canvas. Like it's my canvas.
I don't mind them putting makeup on. I guess when I land that one big movie where I had to sit there for 5 hours, I'll rethink about it. But I'm not getting shit removed. I'm good. I'm happy where I'm at. Yeah.
I don't know what. Good.
I look like a giant baby, and I don't know if I want to ruin that.
Maybe you should get Ted says I'm not a baby.
Well, I'm waiting because I'm hoping that they're going to do a live action version of the movie Up, and I can just play the little boy.
There you go.
The Up house,
like wham, across your arm.
The full size Up house is right down the street from me.
Oh, really?
Was that right?
I'm gonna go take a picture tomorrow. I'll send it to you.
Please do.
That's funny, dude. That's funny.
We built it for like a marketing thing, and then now someone lives in it.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome. We had a list of actors we were trying to figure out, but honestly, the ones you came up with, I didn't know Holt McEnany, I think is his name.
Yeah, dude.
We had Jean-Claude Van Damme, but apparently Don the Dragon Wilson says he can't fight at all. He's a dancer. He called him a dancer.
He did call him a dancer.
Yeah, I think his is a lot of hokiness. Like there's real fighting and then there's hokiness, and I think he is kind of one of those.
They said Seagal could actually fight. Like he's a fighter, but he's terrible.
He's a high level. I forget what his martial art is. It's his martial art is a different one.
He does that one where he does that.
I think what he does is Hapkido or something, and he's a
it is Hapkido. I think you're right.
He's a grandmaster, and it comes down to this, dude. All those martial arts in reality. Watch MMA, and that's probably the most realistic. What would happen if any of those dudes go in there and do Hapkido to a guy who can shoot in, take you down, and break your leg?
He break your leg, yeah. Right.
And
so once you break your leg, it's pretty much the fight's over.
Yeah, you can do this in your back, but that ain't gonna help you. Yeah. So it's just funny.
It's crazy, dude. When they first started that MMA, you saw, like, I remember watching Hoist Gracie and just being amazed at what that dude could do, because he's the guy you would get into a traffic accident with and go, "You stupid idiot," and then you'd be like, dead. Like he doesn't look like it.
No.
But all of a sudden, all the big boxer guys are like, we should learn what that guy's doing.
Well, that's what happened. Like the evolution of fighting, right? Like all of a sudden, this nerdy looking guy, very, very. Nobody was beating everybody. And you're like, wait, what happened? But now everyone does jiu-jitsu. So you're like, oh, crap. You can't pick a fight at the bar these days. You got to look at their ears and see if they got cauliflower. You got to look at their nose. And then you're like, you know what? Have a good day. I'll buy you a beer.
Right. That's why I never got into fights in bars, because I was the guy that'd go like, "You're such a pussy." And I go, "Dude, you have no idea. I am the biggest pussy you'll ever see." And he goes, "Seriously?" And I go, "Yeah. We should have another drink." And he goes, "All right." And I never got into fights, because I'm always amazed when two dudes who don't know each other are that stupid. Unless you are the best fight, but the best fighters never pick fights with other people. It's always the people who are terrible fighters will pick a fight with a dude. You don't know if he has a gun or a knife or is like,
bro.
Yeah, these people knock you out.
We are such cavemen that all that goes out the door, and we're not thinking about that. We're thinking like, oh yeah, I could beat him. I got a chance.
I never thought that once in my life. And I'm like 6'1". I'm not a tiny dude. And I never once was like, I could take that guy. Ever. I was like, oh, I don't want to fight.
Yeah.
Nothing good. Say I beat the shit out of you, I'm gonna go to jail. Say you beat the shit out of me. It's a bad night. But I worked at that Irish pub, and English dudes and some Irish guys if they didn't get into a fight, it was a shitty night. Like they came out with the intention of, I am gonna get drunk and get into a fight. That's my Friday. And I never understood that mentality.
Yeah, I know.
I'd rather like get drunk and meet girls, but that was, maybe I was crazy. Maybe
I was a get drunk and get into a fight guy.
You were?
Yeah.
Who would get into a fight with you? You're a monster.
Yeah, I don't feel like that's a good idea.
There's other monsters at the bar too, man.
Yes, I guess. I don't know. All right, listen, man. We've beaten you up so badly tonight. It was so great. And actually, the time
so much
flew
fun.
by, man. So many great stories.
I'm coming to LA soon, so when I do, man, we got to do some filming.
We are definitely gonna. Oh, I brought Dads in Parks. I was gonna show. Actually, I posted it to the site today. But yeah, to do Dads in Parks, I talked to. We're gonna shoot some more stuff when you come down. Are you coming down to do the next season?
I don't know.
Can you tell? Oh, we don't know. We don't know if it's been picked up or not.
Well, it's been picked up, but I just don't know when.
Oh, we don't know when. Okay. Well, don't worry about it. There's nothing happening globally that could stop anything from happening at all. I mean, LA is not a big deal. I wore a mask to go to the grocery store today. It's all going to be fine down here, my brother. It's not a big deal. Jason, any final words for our friend Mike? Oh, by the way.
No, it's super great meeting you, dude.
My pick for best fighter and actor, Wesley Snipes.
Can he fight?
Apparently he's
That's
a black
what I
belt.
asked.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he can really fight, but I just think he's a great actor, and I really liked him. And he is a black belt fighter, I think.
He's fun.
How about The Roc? Can The Roc fight?
No.
He looks great, though.
He's a monster. He's an athlete.
He's a monster.
Yeah, he could definitely pummel someone, but I don't think he can throw a real fight. I don't think he can throw hands or anything like that with technical proficiency.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll let that one go then. Mickey Rourke, honestly, he gets it alone just on his acting because he's
or Bruce Lee. We never got to see him really do his acting at a high level.
I know. Pretty great. I know. So it goes. Anything else we get from our great show, guys? Oh, thanks, Steven. Oh, Michael, thanks for tuning in. Awesome podcast. I love it. We'll post it up to everybody. Let's say goodbye to our guest.
Good night, man. Thanks. Come back anytime.
Yeah, for sure.
Everybody, go check out if you're a military guy. Please, for the love of God, go help or get help with veteran. And also, dude, you talk to everyone who reaches out to you, which I love.
All you gotta do is message me, and I'll reach out. I'm doing a new thing now. I'm opening a lot of baseball cards. You guys can go check those out online. I got my light shining, but baseball card breaks. And so if you guys check out VinnyRocBreaks.com, you can go join me while I open up some baseball cards. And
that's your podcast too. You're doing that. Was it twice a week now?
Yeah, we're doing it twice a week, Wednesday, Thursday morning. Not tomorrow because I'm filming, but I'll probably make up for it on Friday.
We go out on so many different things from YouTube to Facebook to Twitch to everything. So just Google him and find him. And if you can't find him, find us and we'll send you to him. But yeah, all your stuff's fantastic, dude. I love you, man. And when you come down, we'll hook up.
For sure. All right.
Rocco, Vinny Vargas.
Wow. Fun show.
A really fun show. We had other stuff we're going to get to, but I'm going to save it for next week. And we'll go to some other stuff because he's
such a cool guy.
We talked about all the positivity and stuff that I look for. We have a positivity review, but we'll share it for next week. But we always try to be positive, and we see so many negative things online that it's nice to see someone who's all about supporting the team and helping everybody else. He's a great cat.
Awesome. Yeah, it was so fun to meet him and get to know him. Because I've seen your Dads in Parks with him, so he's a funny guy and a great actor right out of the chute. Like he got out of the military and was like, I saw him in the film. He was a great actor, and so he came and did some of my Dads in Parks, and we got to be buddies. And I wouldn't mess with him in a bar though. I probably would not pull that card. If he was with me, I might pick a fight with somebody else and say, "Hey." That's kind of my MO, where I'll talk the shit and then let my bigger friends do the fighting. I have done that a lot. Well, it's July. I'm going to see you in Pennsylvania. We're going to talk about that show, but we'll post some stuff for that. What else do we have to say? Oh, next week. Who's our guest?
let's give a little shout out. Bill Engvall's here next week. I know
He's coming, man.
But he was shooting a show this week and last week. He's shooting a show called Blue Collar Auction for all you blue collar fans out there. I used to tour with them a lot, as I did with Jeff Foxworthy and Larry the Cable Guy, who are coming in the future as well to do.
Oh, that's the first time we've talked about that.
I know.
Nobody knows.
Such great guys. But Bill Engvall is going to be here next week. Here's your sign. One of the best comics ever, and just one of the nicest cats.
He really is like the nicest guy. When he did my old podcast, he showed up like a half hour early to do sound checks, and we talked so much that we blew through when we were late starting the show.
Super fun. So, all right. Hey, everybody, thank you for tuning in to the Parents Lounge. Be sure to follow us, to like us, to be part of the team, I guess.
Yep. And we're here every Tuesday night, 10 o'clock Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. And you can check us on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. Good night, everybody.